Hello and welcome to Born to Bloom. Just wanted to meet with you for a few moments on this Sunday afternoon. I just thought I was going to send you just the PowerPoint, and then I thought, let me talk about this subject because it's so near and dear to my heart. So this Monday Minute is all about blooming, which is all about your capacity and your potential. I saw a friend yesterday. I was out for a few moments. You know, I've been on bed rest and I've been on healing and sealing of this little leaky nerve root that I have. And I went out yesterday for a few moments of retail therapy because I just needed to see some beauty. So I ran into a friend and we started talking about everything blooming and Easter and all of that. And she said, oh, I have these beautiful tulip bulbs that someone gave me from Holland that are in my garage and I forgot to plant. Is it too late? And I said, oh my goodness, I have no idea, but I think you plant tulips in the fall. And she said, well, they're just, they're starting to burst out of their bulb. And I'm like, I know, that's just what they do. And it got me to thinking about this powerful teaching that I did way back a few years ago called Born to Bloom. And so I thought I was going to share it with you this week. So let's get to it. It's based off of a book by Jan Karen called The Trellis and the Seed, a book of encouragement for all ages. And the main character in this book is the moonflower. And so when I taught this presentation, I got some moonflowers and I put one in my hand and I began the teaching by saying, what do you think is inside of this small, unassuming little seed? Well, everybody guessed a million things. No one guessed a moonflower because they're really not a flower you hear a lot about. And so we started to talk about the power of a tiny, unassuming little seed. So let me put our visuals on so that we can enjoy that. Give me 1 second. Let me get to give me a second here. Goodness gracious. Okay. Opening up the PowerPoint, making sure everything's set to go, and off we go. Perfect. Okay, so let me share that with you because I really love it. And, oh, good grief. So sorry. I always try to be so ready for this. There it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, here we go. Born to bloom. Bloom, the verb, as we will be talking about today, means to come into or be in full beauty or health, to flourish. What I really want us to focus in on for this Monday Minute, which will be a few minutes, is to be in full health. Life really truly does begin with a seed. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. We're keying in on the word potential and on the power of an unassuming little seed. But very often what seems ordinary is actually extraordinary, isn't it? Or as we talk in our circle, remarkable. So moonflowers is our main character of the trellis and the seed. The botanical name, Epimeo, I'm not sure how you say that, but what I want you to notice as I read through the description of the moonflower is how that resonates with our soul as a human being. Moonflowers, it's a vine that needs a support structure upon which to grow. Boy, isn't that the truth for all of us? Once it's established, growth is rapid. It's noted for its fragrant nocturnal white blooms, the moonflowers, and its deep green foliage. The flowers unfold or blossom in early evening before nightfall from attractive spiraled tubular flower buds. And the flowers remain open all night and eventually close before noon the following day. So they're blooming at night. Now, moonflowers have a thick outer shell, and they're slow to germinate if they aren't given a little assistance. Before planting moonflower seeds outdoors, you have to carefully notch each seed just deep enough to allow moisture to adequately penetrate the inner core. Okay, I could probably preach on this topic for hours, but we'll come back to that in a few weeks because I'm going to stay with this for our Monday Minutes in March. Sometimes we have a thick outer shell, don't we? Because we've been wounded, someone has hurt us, we've been abused. Sometimes we just get really selfish. And so we grow this thick outer shell, and sometimes we need a little assistance, a little notch that'll allow the moisture of God's word and the love of others to come in and get to our heart. Now, I'm in the business of giving a little assistance as a counselor and a life coach. I love to come alongside and help women break down that thick outer shell. Sometimes we need that help. The moonflower provides an attractive ornamental cover for fences, decks, trellises, or other structures around the home. This is what it looks like, and it's just exquisite. I've tried to grow it twice, and I've not had the success, so I'm just guessing I don't have it in the right fertile soil. I'm going to try it again this year, so we'll see. But look at it. The beauty of the 5-point star tucked within it before it blooms makes me even happier. When it does fully bloom, it kind of looks like a sand dollar. So just God's different creativity is just coming through all of this beautiful flower. And you know how much I love Daniel 12:3, those who are wise will shine like the stars in the universe. And here it is on its beautiful vine, trumpeting and giving forth its fragrance. So now I want you just to transfer what I just read about the moonflower to you, that you are this seed full of capacity and potential. You know, transfer the thought of one unassuming little seed to the power of one unassuming little girl. I did a wonderful course through Dr. Brene Brown, which is now available on Oprah.com, where we created heart journals. And I'd been doing this for years, but Brene Brown really just made this very public, which I was so happy because millions of women were blessed. And we had to find a picture of ourselves as a little girl. And so I chose this one because I was in first grade here. I was 6 years old, living in North Carolina, going to a Catholic school. And on my 6th birthday, I was told to stand on the white line because I talked too much in class. Now, before you have too much fun with that, because you know me, this was quite a marker, as I call it in my counseling practice, in my life. Because here are these religious figures, Sister John Marine, Sister Teresa Ann, in their black and white habits, molding and shaping me as they thought was best with their strict religious ideals that I should just sit in a desk and be quiet and unassuming all day long. Well, I know that I wasn't rebellious. I remember clearly that I was not that kind of little girl. I was a perfectionist probably, but I don't know why I was talking. I was probably excited about something because you know how I get. And they just said I needed to be quiet. So they stood me on a white line, and supposedly they let my peers walk by me while they go to play, and I have to stand there, and it's my birthday, and I'm crying. And my sister, 6.5 years older, was in 7th or 8th grade at the time, and she said she heard me crying and came over, and the nun said to her, "Leave her alone. It is for her good." Well, you see, at that moment on my life's white line, on my lifeline, Satan got a foothold in my life, which in Ephesians 4:29, it says that he does. And from that moment on, I'm sure I became quite even a more of a perfectionist. And I also tried to make myself like these religious people were telling me I should be. I say it's the beginning of shouldology in my life, when they were shoulding all over me. I should be this way, should be that way. But somewhere in that little girl, there was a call to bloom in the moonlight, to bloom at night during the difficult, dark places. And it does seem to be a foreshadowing of my life because I have had to do a lot of growing in difficult soil. And even this past 2 years, having 3 surgeries in 15 months, it's been pretty difficult. And not pretty, it's been difficult, I'm not going to lie. But God has called me to bloom in the moonlight. And now he allows me to share that fragrance with everyone who God brings to my life in my sphere of influence. So the women that come to my counseling or coaching or where I get to speak or write books, the students I teach online, I hope that I am emitting a fragrance that it gives them courage to face the midnight hours with courage and strength. We're called to be remarkable, aren't we? Let's not forget that. So today I just want to share these 5 points on the call to bloom. You know, we can stay safe in our little boxed life. We're not going to grow there. My friends' tulips are going to try to grow in the garage, but they're not going to. Their fragrance, their beauty won't be released, and they're not going to beautify the world. I mean, they might beautify the corner of the garage, and that's great. And I know there's lessons in that. But God doesn't want us to stay stuck inside our thick outer shells either. He wants us to ask for help if we need it. Maybe that's where you are today. I certainly know someone who can help you, and if I can't help you, I'll find someone who can. He does want us to be planted in safe environment, in a healthy soil, a great church, good people, good community groups, good Bible studies, where we can be nurtured and tended. And I'm so blessed to be in fertile soil in my life with loving people who are tending to my soil. So bloom. B, we're going to start there, is with beginnings. Let's go back to our Genesis 2 beginning, where God created man. He breathed into Adam and made Adam a living soul. He breathed into Adam this potential, this capacity for everything that life was going to bring Adam's way. And he offers us that same. When you and I were a thought in God's head, and then he decided it was time for us to strategically be placed on this planet, he breathed into us and made us living souls. So let our God-created identity, our capacity, our potential, our possibility be released. L is for listen for the whispers that sometimes only come in the moonlight, the quiet times spent with God. Open your heart. You were born to bloom. Open your eyes, have eyes to see, and move forward. Do one thing every day that your future self will thank you for. What does that look like for you today? Maybe it looks like calling and getting someone to help you break out of your thick outer shell. I don't know why I keep repeating that, but I'm feeling that maybe there's someone here today listening who has a thick outer shell that is stuck and it's uncomfortable, and you want to shed it. So today's the day to bloom, to be remarkable. The time came when the risk it took to remain tight in the bud became more painful than the risk to blossom. Today's the day. Today is the day to come out of that thick outer shell and to bloom. Today's a day of beginnings. I want to take a moment and read to you the trellis and the seed. Just close your eyes, get your tea. Let me just breathe life into your soul today. The little seed felt warm in the nice lady's hand. Someone had given it to her at the end of summer because she had a garden and loved flowers. Here, they said, this will make a beautiful vine with sweet-smelling blossoms. The little seed, however, did not believe this. It was only a seed and very, very small. How could it ever be a beautiful vine with blossoms? The little seed spent the winter in a jelly glass on the top shelf of a china cupboard. When spring came, the nice lady went out and bought a trellis for the seed, a whole trellis for one seed. Then she took down the glass and ran a bit of water into it so the seed could soak. Excuse me. This will make you soft and help you sprout faster, she said. The nice lady went to her early spring garden and found just the right place for the trellis. She put it deep into the ground by her brick wall. She poked her finger into the dirt. She picked up the seed, which had been growing soft, and she put it into the hole. She said, goodbye, see you this summer. And then she filled the small hole with dirt. She said a little prayer over it. and she bidded adieu. Though being someplace soft felt nice for a change, it was dark in the hole and it was very cold. Don't worry, said the earth. God has planned something beautiful for you. You will be a green vine with blossoms that scent the air with sweet perfume. There it was again. That story about vines and blossoms. Oh, the little seed did not believe it. Days passed, as they do when you're down in a dark place. The sun shone and the rain fell, and then there was a stir in the small dark hole. First, something happened at the bottom of the little seed. It felt like a tickle. And then something happened at the top of the seed. It felt like a kiss. The rain fell, the sun shone, the days grew warm. Soon there was no more seed. Instead, there was a small green sprout. Can you see it? Hello, said the nice lady. I knew you'd be up and about soon. Now, if you would just climb the trellis, that would be great. I would be pleased as everything if you can. Climb the trellis? Are you kidding me? How could a small sprout climb a trellis that was 1,000,000 miles up in the air? Just start, said the earth. The job is half done when you've made a beginning. There's that beginning again. For many days, the thunder shook the heavens. Water flooded the puddles and made puddles in the garden. The little sprout thought it was going to drown. And then the sun came out. It shone and shone and shone. And while the sprout was scarcely paying any attention, it became a vine. The vine stretched out a green, curling tendril. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I'm going to try again this summer. It touched something that didn't feel soft like dirt or warm like sun. For a moment, it was afraid of anything that felt so different and tried to pull its tendril back. But it was stuck to the trellis. There was only one thing to do. It began to climb. It couldn't help climbing. It couldn't stop climbing. I love that part. It had to climb. It's a moonflower. I'm a writer. I have to write. I'm a teacher. I have to teach. What is your potential? What is your capacity? What is it that you just cannot not do? It climbed to the right, it climbed to the left, it danced out into the air where there was no trellis at all. Then one day it couldn't climb anymore. It tried and tried to reach the top of the trellis, but nothing it did would help. Its glossy leaves drooped, its tendrils lost their lovely curl. The nice lady came out. She had a shovel. She sprinkled some smelly stuff around my roots, and she said, there. That should be delicious. Soon afterward, a summer shower swept over the garden, and suddenly the top of the trellis didn't seem so far away after all. Foxgloves and hollyhocks blossomed by the doorsteps. Look at this woman's yard. It's gorgeous. Cosmos and lavender bordered the path. Old-fashioned roses twined up an arbor, spilling petals onto ruffled petunias. In the nice lady's garden, everything was blooming. Everything but the vine on the trellis. Though it had climbed all the way to the top of the trellis and started up the brick wall, it felt very disappointed. Everybody else is blooming. What's wrong with me? Everybody else's flowers look beautiful. What is wrong with me? She was very disappointed. It knew at last that the story about fragrant blossoms wasn't true at all. I knew it. Wait, said the earth. God's timing for you is different. Gotta hear that. God's timing for you, my friend, the Kairos timing of God is perfect. He knows exactly when you're supposed to bloom. That evening, a full moon appeared in the cloudless sky. It rose slowly over the nice lady's house, turning the garden path into a ribbon of silver. Isn't that beautiful? The vine felt the soft moonlight steal among its leaves. Something happened that felt like a tickle. Something happened that felt like a kiss. Soon the nice lady appeared in her nightdress and bare feet, walking on the silver ribbon. "What's going on?" she asked the garden. "A wondrous fragrance awakened me and called me to come out." She followed the scent until she came to the trellis. You guessed it. There, half hidden among the leaves, she saw dozens of ivory blossoms unfolding on the vine. As each blossom opened, a heavenly aroma, filled the air, bathing the garden with sweet perfume. The nice lady looked on in amazement. She could hardly believe that so much beauty and mystery had come from one tiny, unassuming little seed. "I just knew you were going to be something wonderfully different," she exclaimed. Happily, she twined an ivory blossom in her hair. She tucked another in a buttonhole on her nightdress, and she picked an especially beautiful one to put on her bed in a painted china cup. "Thank you," she said, filled with admiration. As she walked back to her house on the silver ribbon, a shiver of joy stirred in the vine that blooms only at night. The vine whose lovely name is Moonflower. And over the nice lady's garden, there was stillness and peace. May there be stillness and peace over your heart today. You, my friend, are going to bloom in the perfect timing of God. Be blessed. See you next time.